to introduce you all to, just to start off with some introductions and to introduce you all to the team behind this incredible event. My name is Samiha. I'm one of the training and development co-chairs on the National Campus and Youth Engagement team on the NCYT for the ACS this year. I'll pass it off to Rishika next.
I'm Rashika. I'm a junior from Gilman High School in South Carolina, and I'm on the subcommittee for the training and development portion of the NCYT.
Hi, everyone. I'm Darshita. I am the co-chair of the training and development team with Samiha and Brishika. The three of us make the training and development team on the NCYT. We essentially make the resources and we host trainings like these. And so if you're interested in learning more about us, you can find more on the links that are on the next slide. Right over here, the two links, we will post them in the chat for you guys if you're interested in learning more about the NCYT. But all of you all are here for the Virtual Opportunity Fair, or the VOF. Just to give you guys a little bit of background as to what the VOF is, the goal is to give you the resources and the connections so you can stay involved with the American Cancer Society post-graduation. Many of y'all have just graduated or will be graduating soon. Congratulations. This is a super huge milestone, and we want to be there to support you guys in your continued involvement with the ACS, with the American Cancer Society, if that's through volunteering, internships, or employment opportunities. There is a lot of great programs and opportunities to explore at today's Virtual Opportunity Fair. And with that, we'll jump right into our agenda.
And just to walk everyone through our agenda really briefly for the night, first, of course, we just went over an introduction to tonight's call and what the Virtual Opportunity Fair is all about. Next, we're going to first pass it off to some of our esteemed speakers from the fundraising sector of the American Cancer Society. We'll be hearing from guest speakers in the several programs that are available post-grad to both high school and college graduates in fundraising. Next, we'll be going into advocacy, and we'll have guest speakers from across ACS CAN, the Cancer Action Network, the 501c3 ancillary of the American Cancer Society, who will be featured in this segment to help you further your cancer advocacy volunteer journey. And then fourth, we'll be going into patient support, and we'll hear from our patient support pillar guest speakers from across our several more service-oriented programs and opportunities here at ACS. We'll next be going into professional development, where you'll learn more about employment opportunities at ACS, internships if you're starting out, full-time positions, going across the range of the several opportunities that we have available. And then finally, and this is one of the most exciting parts of tonight's call, we'll be having a virtual opportunity fair and an opportunity for networking, where you can virtually mingle with all of our guest speakers, have a chance to speak with them one-on-one in breakout rooms, and learn a little bit more about the incredible opportunities that ACS has to offer, and learn more insights from them in a more one-on-one setting. And with that, we'll jump right into fundraising.
Yeah, so let's get right into our first segment. We want to share how you can get more involved with ACS through fundraising. For our first speaker of the night, we'd like to welcome Haley Rano, who's been heavily involved with Determination, to further discuss opportunities to get involved with this fantastic initiative.
Hi, everyone. I'll start off by introducing myself some more. My name is Haley Rano, and I'm a semi-recent grad from the University of Tennessee. And a little more than 2 years ago, I was in y'all's shoes, just trying to figure out what to do post-grad that kept me involved with ACS. And so during my last semester of college, I actually joined the NCYT, which led me to so many wonderful people involved in ACS. And during that time is whenever I learned exactly how much there is to do within ACS besides your typical Relay for Life event on campus. And so during that time is when I learned about determination. And so we might be asking, what even is determination? And so determination is an event endurance program spanning from a variety of different sports, including hiking, cycling, running, yoga, and lots more. And so determination is also a worldwide program with events happening in places like Tokyo and London, but more events do happen in the US. And so some of the popular states there are like California and Florida, Illinois, and Philadelphia that kind of host more of the events going on. But if you do go to cancer.org/determination, you can find all the events that Determination is a part of on that website. And so let me state that you do not have to live in one of those states to participate either. I do all my events in Florida because I'm a Run Disney girl. I live in Tennessee, from Tennessee, but actually living in California now, but travel all the way to Florida just for those Run Disney races. That reason being because I'm a Disney World goer from birth. And so I've done those Run Disney races before, and I just figured might as well combine the two things I love, Disney and ACS. And so this past February, I actually joined the determination team for the Run Disney Princess Half Marathon weekend, which in my opinion was the best weekend ever with Run Disney. But it's more than just signing up for that weekend. Whenever you do, the staff partner for Run Disney at the Disney World resorts is amazing. She communicates really, really great with you and even holds fundraising challenges throughout the year to kind of build that connection with your team and everything like that. Yes, love Ashley so much. And they even hold a team brunch and activity during that weekend, which is really, really fun to get to know everyone and just kind of connect with everyone that is a part of your ACS team. And then whenever it comes up to signing up for these races, because it can kind of be a headache or just a lot to just do, but whenever you sign up for these races, you do sign up months in advance, especially when it comes to Run Disney. You actually sign up about 8 months in advance when it comes to Run Disney races, but it gives you time to prepare and really train for whatever marathon or anything you're doing. But the time does vary for the event, so just keep an eye out for that. But when you sign up for registering for the event, you're kind of reserving your spot when it becomes like a part of the race. So for instance, with Run Disney, they do a 5K, a 10K, half marathon, and then a challenge where you do both the half and the 10K. And so you pick which one you want to do, and then you are promising to raise a certain amount of money for ACS in order to be a part of that race weekend. And so, for instance, again, with Run Disney, because that's my go-to, the 5K, you have to raise at least $550, the 10K, $700, half is $1,000, and then if you do the challenge, it's $1,600. So when you do that, you'll be able to participate in the race whenever you raise your certain amount of money, and then you can run your little race. But without raising that money, you cannot run the race, which is very, very important to state. Is the whole reason you are kind of doing it is to raise money for ACS. But another important thing is you do not have to be a runner or a top athlete or anything like that to participate with Run Disney or determination, anything like that. You can be a beginner. I was definitely a beginner. I love to do my little walkies, but I was not a full-on runner girl at all. So you don't have to be a runner, top athlete, or anything to do any determination events, but anything like that, you can do the cycling, yoga, hiking, anything like that. But no matter the performance ability that you have, determination has a spot for you on its team. So that's all I have for determination.
Thank you, Haley. That is definitely a beautiful way of putting the fun in fundraising. With that, we will move into a program that some of us may already be familiar with, Campus Relay for Life and Colleges Against Cancer. To speak on these amazing programs, please welcome Dylan Spencer, who is our National Director for Enterprise Community Fundraising and the staff partner for our team.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you all for joining. And again, congrats to all of our amazing graduates. A lot of you, of course, you were volunteers with us, not just this year, but potentially a few years. So we thank you for everything that you do for us. And we're excited that you are choosing to join us tonight to learn ways to continue that volunteer journey. As Darshita said, my name is Dylan Spencer. I'm your Director for Enterprise Community Fundraising. And I started as a middle school volunteer. So started in that Relay for Life space, really kind of growing as a lifelong volunteer and even as staff, still a volunteer. I had just put in the chat, I just did my, as a volunteer, first half marathon for the American Cancer Society. Kudos to you all that do this all the time because it was a great one-time experience, I will say that. But I'm glad I could be a part of it, and that was here in Pittsburgh. So But we are here to talk about, those high school graduates. You're choosing what to do next, that next college, what college you're going to, how are you going to stay involved? And here at the American Cancer Society, we have what is called our Colleges Against Cancer clubs. So when you go to college, next steps, look out for that club. If you wonder if your school has one, you can certainly email us and ask, and we can help you kind of pivot and find where that club is, help you find that student lead. But certainly, if there is a club fair, look for that Colleges Against Cancer Club. They are the ones that are usually putting on our Campus Relay for Life program, which is, of course, has been around for this year, 40 years. We're celebrating 40 years of impact. And here at the American Cancer Society in our campus space, we have a slogan of ending cancer starts on campus, because we know that here in our campus volunteers, we are the future and we are the movement of what's, going to shape up and change what it looks like in the cancer space. So again, these chapters are around the country. They fundraise for the American Cancer Society, primarily through that Campus Relay for Life walk movement. But relays look different. If you're a high school relayer and you go to college, the relay is probably going to look a lot different, and it's supposed to. It should look different. Different flair, different excitement. So definitely check that out. If there is not a Colleges Against Cancer club on your campus that you're going to already, you can start one. We are bringing on new schools, it seems like every month, which is really exciting. So if there is not one and you want to start one, that's what we're here to do. We're here to help you, support you, give you that onboarding to successfully start a new club. There's a few speakers on here, Darshita and Samia, who both started clubs at their college, and quite a few others. So we are here to help you for that. But again, I'm going to end by saying congrats again to our high school graduates, and we hope you continue your journey by joining us on your campus with Colleges Against Cancer. Thank you all.
Incredible. Thank you so, so much, Dylan. Dylan is such an incredible support for all of us on this team and such an inspiration to all of us starting out our volunteer journeys. So thank you once again. Next, we'll be having Cameron Ogden take the floor next to discuss Community Relay for Life, which is a fantastic opportunity to stay involved with Relay post-grad. This is another incredible volunteer here at ACS. So please join me in welcoming Cameron.
Hello, everyone. I want to echo what Dylan said. Congratulations to all the graduates. Graduation is a huge milestone, and I wish you all nothing but the best in your future. As you look ahead to what's next, I want to talk a little bit about Community Relay for Life. My full-time job is I'm a speech language pathologist. However, I have relayed both within my college and in my community, and I want to talk to you a little bit tonight about some key differences between the two, as well as some core similarities. So you'll notice within the community space, the ELT or the event leadership teams tend to have longer tenures, and they often stick around longer, sometimes for multiple years. And I think that's great because that helps mentor newer leaders like yourself and keep strong events growing year after year. If you're interested in fundraising within the community space, I do want to point out one difference. On campus, when you're registering for your event, you do get that event t-shirt. However, in the community, your t-shirt starts at the $100 fundraising level when you become a Hope Club member. The challenges in the community space don't always align with the NCYET challenge calendar. That's something really fun and different. And there's different challenges within the community space than there is on campus. And also within the community space, relays take place year round. On campus, a lot of times we'll see the events grouped within certain months of the year. However, within the community space, relays are taking place all year round. Now let's talk about the fun things, the core similarities. Everything is rooted around teamwork and community within the community space. Much like on campus, it's centered on connection and fun. These events aren't just serious, there's a chance to celebrate, to laugh, and to create unforgettable memories. Within the community space, again, our signature color is purple. We honor and celebrate the survivors and caregivers. We remember those who we've lost, we fight back with knowledge and awareness, and our mission is the same: to help the American Cancer Society end cancer as we know it for everyone. So whether you're graduating high school and heading off to the next chapter of college, or you're graduating college and heading out to maybe your home community or a brand new community as you experience your first job, I want to encourage you to reach out and find your local Relay for Life community event and get involved in one way or another, whether that's through the ELT or starting a team within the community, because it's a great opportunity to get plugged in and network within your community. So congratulations to all of you. I'll be in the breakout later if you want to chat more, but I'm really excited to congratulate you and wish you the best in your next step.
Thank you, Cameron. With that, we're going to introduce another inspiring individual who's had an impressive ACS volunteer track record, Cameron Graber, to introduce us all to Gen Now.
Good evening, everyone. I am Cameron with 1M. It's great to see everyone on here. I see some familiar names, and more exciting, I see some new names I haven't seen. Just a little about me. I'm not going to go through my entire track record, but I am a studio lead and senior project manager for a medical equipment planning firm, my consulting. I was the former NCYET co-lead during COVID, and then I was the NCFLT volunteer co-lead shortly after I was done with the campus team. And then more specifically about this, I was the former Denver Gen Now co-lead while I lived in Denver. So you might be asking yourself, what is Gen Now? That is a new name that ACS has kind of adopted. It used to be called Young Professionals. It could also be called YPACs. There's a bunch of different older names, previous names that you might know it by. But Gen Now is a national network of like-minded young professionals, or what I like to call emerging industry professionals. Young professionals makes it sound like someone in their 40s wouldn't be able to get involved. But the exciting thing about Gen Now is that I say it's more of young at heart, or like young in your career. So you don't have to necessarily be right out of college to do this, or right out of school if you're going straight into whatever industry you want to after high school. But this is a group of like-minded individuals who want to come together. It can be from medical equipment all the way to KPMG with business analytics, all the way to construction and all that. So it has 3 pillars. They focus on mission, mentorship, and impact. Mission, just as you have all probably gotten involved with your previous events, we like to get involved with local ACS opportunities, whether you have a Hope Lodge, or whether you're doing Road to Recovery, or going and giving dinner to one of the cancer institutes. Just opportunities to be able to give back to cancer patients and their families. A very big aspect of Gen Now is that mentorship. In the Gen Now chapters throughout the country, there are people who are brand new into their field. I came to Denver less than a year into my field of work, and I met amazing people. I met people who I never would have thought I would have ever met through Gen Now, and it's cultivated lifelong friendships, and also just, like I said, mentorships of just seeing how successful these young individuals can be. And going back to what Dylan said, we are the face of the upcoming cancer fighters. We are what's going to be coming down the pipeline. And it's super exciting to see everyone come together. The third pillar is impact. One key aspect of a Gen Now chapter is that they have to have some sort of fundraising aspect. And that usually comes in play with what they have been calling fork cancer. It's a pun on words. I'm assuming you can get what is supposed to be the pun. But that is a very big up and coming opportunity for ACS. And if we go to the next slide, I have a few fun photos. So fork cancer, I helped start fork cancer in Denver. Can we move to the next slide, please? Thank you. So I helped start Fork Cancer in Denver. It's currently on year 3 this in July, and it is expected to see continued growth as well. They were able to almost double the revenue and almost double the participation from the year 1 to year 2. But Fork Cancer is on the top right. There's amazing opportunities for VIPs who decide to spend a little bit extra, for sponsors, as well as just unique opportunities for when it comes to the actual event. And you also might be asking, what is Fork Cancer? It's an opportunity for businesses, food businesses and drink businesses to come together, and they have their little appetizers of food. I say appetizers, you do get very full off this food. It's unlimited. Once you buy your ticket, it's as much food as you want. And it's also normally unlimited drinks if you're older than 21. But I have a great time there. The photo on the top left is Shuck Cancer. That's in New Orleans. That's kind of the first type of fork cancer that was created. And they specifically focus on oysters as well as more New Orleans local cuisine. Still super fun. They, I think, are making over $500,000 every year. The bottom left is the Skyline Soiree. That's in Chicago. They focus more on that type of gala experience, but also still kind of keeping that, bringing those businesses together, allowing them to showcase what makes Chicago unique. And then the last one is Bubbly Q. I can't remember if this is in Dallas or if it's in Austin, but I'm pretty sure it's in Texas. And yes, that is a bathtub. And yes, they were pouring the drinks from that bathtub. So the cool and really fun thing about Gen Now and also these what I would call premier events is it's very much catered to the regions, very much catered to the metros, and also catered to the emerging industry professionals, what they want to see from their group. That's what's coming into play here. So this is just another amazing opportunity, especially as you start going into your careers right out of college or right out of high school. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Cameron, for sharing and for those photos. Clearly, you get to be part of something incredible as a part of the Gen Now network. Next, we are going to dive right into our advocacy segment of this call and discuss ways to get involved with ACS CAN. So I will pass it over to Jake Konigsberg, who is our very own advocacy chair on the NCYAT.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Jake with 1K. I have been the advocacy chair for the NCYAT for the past 2 years. Some other background about my advocacy involvement is I served as a legislative ambassador and an ACT lead. I will explain what all that means when discussing about some of the opportunities that you guys can participate in. I have been involved in the Young Leaders Caucus, and then I also am the president and technically founder, I guess, of the Colleges Against Cancer Club at my university. So the first opportunity, I guess, before even actually talking about that, just more generally, advocacy is really a broad term to describe any sort of legislative means that we can use to advance the fight against cancer. So that's going to take many different forms, but it's all about the idea that legislation is really important in complementing the work of ACS and complementing all the fundraising work that we do and ensuring that the term in making changes that really do require legislative means and ensuring that they're sort of codified. So there's a lot of ways to get involved, especially as a younger individual. Your voice is really important. So there's a lot of cool opportunities that I'll talk about. So the first is the Young Leaders Caucus, which is really geared towards young individuals between 18 and 35, and ensures really that the voices of these individuals are heard when making the programming and developing the actions of ACS CAN. So it's really about projecting their voice and ensuring that that's being incorporated when thinking about ways that ACS CAN can get involved, and thinking really also about the legislation that's really important. So it's a really awesome way to project your voice and something that is always open to more members and something that's really great. The legislative ambassador role, which is something that I actually did to first get involved in ACS CAN, is a role in which you play essentially almost like you're lobbying sort of, and you're going to be sending petitions directly to your local representatives, senators on a state and national level. So ACS CAN is going to basically puts out every year a number of national and local priorities, which are pieces of legislation that are important for the fight against cancer. So as a legislative ambassador, you're going to be involved in that, in ensuring that and showing really your local leaders that you support this legislation and that there is putting sort of some pressure on them to sort of get it through. So that's a really important role and is the grassroots really. I mean, it's the foundation of a lot of the work the ACSCAN does and something that, again, we always can use more people doing. State Cancer Action Days are another really cool opportunity to actually go down to your state capital and meet with representatives on behalf of ACSCAN and directly lobby for some of the legislative asks, mostly on the state level, of course, that really push. Again, it's about showing support. It means so much to come in person and to share your experiences, share your story. So that's a great opportunity too. And then there's also a number of everyday actions that you guys can do. So civic engagement, that's just, again, really voting and going to town halls and calling up your representatives. And that sort of goes into like communicating to representatives. Make sure your voice is heard. Your vote is important to them, and letting them know sort of what's important to you is essential for them to be able to represent you. So definitely just know that that matters. Also, signing petitions. This is, again, another way, just sort of, again, as an extension of the legislative ambassador role. You don't need to be a legislative ambassador to do that. Find petitions that you feel passionate about, the petitions that ACSCAN is pushing for. Go on the ACSCAN website, and it's on really like the front page directly to their Cancer Action sort of portal, and sign those petitions and send them to your representatives. I don't believe Sim is here, but a lot of these opportunities are very similar to what I've already discussed. Again, ACSCAN youth groups, there are some that are going to be on the state level. So, the Young Leaders Caucus is going to be the most applicable, I think, on a national level and in the 1835 range, it's the broadest. But there are some other opportunities. So if you're interested, definitely reach out to Sim or reach out to me, and we can direct you to some of the more state-based initiatives that we're aware of. And Sam put a great link in the chat for ACSCAN. And then the other thing I would just add is sort of being what an ACT lead means. And that's sort of the idea that if you're a legislative ambassador, eventually what you could do is sort of help coordinate those activities on the state, on the state or really regional level. So it's a region of a state. So there's many usually ACT leads, and you basically help coordinate the legislative ambassadors, help get information out to them, and really assist grassroots managers in that region. So again, a really pivotal and important role that definitely, if you're interested in, should learn more about. So I think that's it for most of the opportunities. But again, if you want to peruse the ACSCAN website, do what, they're always looking for different ways to engage and different ideas. So if you have any great ideas, also you can share them with me or Sim, but we're always open.
Yeah, thank you, Jake. So we're now going to be shifting gears to our patient support section to discuss Hope Lodge and Road to Recovery, two life-changing initiatives that are essential to patients' lives across the nation. So we're going to first be passing it to Caroline Seelman, an incredible patient support volunteer and former NCYET member, to discuss Hope Lodge opportunities.
Hi, y'all. My name's Caroline. I first got involved with ACS my senior year of high school in 2018. My school participated in a multi-school Relay for Life fundraiser in New Orleans, and I got hooked from that. And when I went to college for undergrad, I joined a committee my first year and then was on the executive board my sophomore, junior, and senior year. And my senior year of college is when I applied for the NCYET and ended up serving as the Fundraising Innovation Chair from the end of my senior year of college throughout my first year of grad school. I did not plan on working for ACS after getting my degrees. My initial plan was to go into working for the federal government straight out of my master's degree last May. But if you know the government, you know that it takes a long time for things to get done. And that was something that I had to deal with regarding the jobs that I was applying for, since they required very long, thorough background checks. And then with the federal hiring freeze that got put into place, I was kind of at a crossroads. My plan A, was not really working out. And I saw an opening on LinkedIn for a open position for a coordinator at my local Hope Lodge in New Orleans. And I applied and was lucky enough to be able to work there for these past about 7 months, I guess it's been. It's crazy that I've driven by that Hope Lodge so many times over the years on my way home from school and from sports practices growing up. And I never knew that it was a Hope Lodge until I went to interview in person there. And what's really cool about Hope Lodge is that it is completely free for guests and their caregivers. I got involved because my mom is a breast cancer survivor, and our Hope Lodge in New Orleans is right down the road from Ochsner, where she received her treatment from, and where we have a lot of patients that receive treatment from at our Hope Lodge. And what was so interesting is that how many people are traveling from so far away to come and receive treatment. It made me realize how lucky we were to be living in New Orleans, where we have a lot of incredible medical professionals and people really at the forefront of the field to be able to help these cancer patients. So what's been awesome is just getting to connect with these patients. I would wear so many hats in this role. I know Hope Lodges, we've just switched a little bit in terms of structure of what that looks like, but I would do so many different things. I'd be calling potential guests, just going through, our eligibility questions and whatnot, and helping schedule what their stays would be. We had people schedule so far out as well because they don't have any other means. If they're not able to stay at the Hope Lodge, they're going to have to cancel their surgery, which is not something that we ever want them to do. So we are just constantly trying to fit in as many people to Hope Lodge as we can. And it's been amazing to see how many different types of people from all walks of life come into the Hope Lodge. And it's been nice to help not only them, but also the caregivers that come with them. I think a lot of people forget how tough the caregiver role is. And so being able to help alleviate the burdens that come not only for cancer patients, but those caregivers as well, has been something that was really special to be a part of, and get to just connect with lots of different people and see them throughout their journeys. There are so many Hope Lodges. There are over 30 Hope Lodges throughout the US and in Puerto Rico. And I know that a few new ones are being built as we speak. So they are such incredible places that provide so much hope for people. Our guests save on average about $250 a night when they stay with us. Rather than having to pay for a hotel, they get to be somewhere where they say, it feels more like home. And it's a very nice, quiet space for them to heal. So the work that Hope Lodges do is absolutely critical to cancer patients and their caregivers. And it's just been a really awesome thing to get to be a part of. My boss told me this is the most thankful job I will ever have. And as I prepare to go work for the federal government, I definitely know that that has been true. This is one of the most thankful jobs I've ever had. I'm so glad that I got to be a part of it and got to continue not only being part of ACS, but working for them. It really has been such a treat.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. We really, really appreciated your words and, of course, all of your impactful work. Next, we're going to be passing it off to discuss Road to Recovery, and we have a very heavily involved and impactful speaker here with us tonight to share more about this great program that we encourage everyone to get involved with. Please welcome James Williams for this section of the fair.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Ahmed, and thank you so much, Ms. Pratha, for helping put my slide together. I'm James Williams Jr., and I am a Director of Federal Affairs here in Washington, D.C. for the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network. Also want to give a big shout out to the first intern who worked with me here, Sam Kindweiss. He was an excellent intern, and I hope that I know he's going to continue to do great things with the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network. I was a former Hill staffer for 20 years for 5 members of Congress. Some of the ones you may know are Carolyn Kilpatrick from Detroit, Michigan, and John Lewis, whom I served as Chief of Staff. And I've been with the ACS CAN for the past 3 years. And I'm a native of Washington, D.C., and a 2-time prostate cancer survivor. My involvement as a volunteer actually began when I was 39 years old. I was the chief of staff to Mr. Lewis, and I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And at that point, after successful surgery, I was in a clinical trial, and in 2004, when prostate cancer came back again, but at that point, I had been a volunteer with the American Cancer Society for 5 years with the man-to-man prostate cancer screening and awareness program, and I did that through 2009. My wife passed away, and I'll be honest, I was busy feeling sorry for myself. I said, I got to get something. I got to do something to get involved again because I love volunteering with the American Cancer Society. So that's when I became a member of the Road to Recovery program. And that was the Road to Recovery program I just rejoined this year again because it was so fulfilling. So why the Road to Recovery? First of all, it's easy to do. The number I dialed when I found out I had cancer in 1999 is the same number you dial to become a member of the Road to Recovery. And that's the thing that I love about it with regard to the Road to Recovery. It's just easy to sign up, easy to become a member, and you can pick the hours in which you can serve. You also get immediate gratification. I did hundreds of rides in Road to Recovery, and at a reception that we are having here in Washington, D.C. tonight for Hill staff, I was just recounting some of the great stories that I had from people that I gave rides back and forth to chemotherapy treatment, to doctor's appointments, and to everything in between. And I am still friends with many of those individuals to this very day. It's safe. When you become a member of the Road to Recovery program, you're trained to make sure that you're going to be in a safe environment, and every person that you get has been vetted by the American Cancer Society as someone who genuinely, desperately needs a ride back and forth to their doctor's appointment, chemo, or radiation treatment. And also, you go in the Road to Recovery because it's a way to make a difference. I'm 65 years old. I know I don't look it, but I am 65 years old. And one thing that I look back on as the rearview mirror of my life is how have I made a difference to someone else? And that's why all of you are participating in this event this evening, each and every one of you. Not to say I'm so proud to see so many young people like yourselves being involved and being and volunteering because that's what it's all about. You want to make a difference in this world where sometimes you don't think you can, but believe me, you can make a difference. And lastly, it's because you want to get in good trouble. Everybody wants to get in good trouble. You may think you don't, but you really do. Um, as I mentioned before, I was chief of staff to Congressman John Lewis for a year and a half of my 20 years on Capitol Hill. And one thing that I've learned is that, if you want to be rich, that's wonderful. If you want to be famous, that's wonderful. If you want to be great, that's wonderful. But understand, the greatest among you shall be a servant. And indeed, that's the new definition of greatness. And because anybody can serve, anybody can be great. You know, you don't have to have a college degree in order to serve. You don't have to know the second law of thermodynamics in order to serve. Your subject, verb, and object don't need to agree in order to serve. All you need is what everybody here has, a heart full of grace and a soul dedicated to service. And you can be that servant. And you know what? That's exactly what you will be when you dial that 1-800-227 2345 to become a member of the Road to Recovery. I'll be here willing to talk to anyone here. And as Mr. Lewis said, if you see something that's not right, that's not fair, and that's not just, it's time to speak up, speak out, and get in trouble, get in good trouble. And this is one of the best ways that you can get in good trouble, and you will make an immediate, you'll have immediate gratification. You can make a difference. And I love to talk to some of you in the breakout room after it's all over. And I thank you so much. Take care and hope to see some of you soon in the Road to Recovery. Thank you, Ms. Ahmed.
Thank you, James. Thank you for sharing your story and also sharing how gratifying and important it can be to be a Road to Recovery volunteer. For our last segment of the night, we will be discussing professional development opportunities, which take several forms here at ACS. It's a pleasure to introduce our current NCYET co-lead, Sam Keimleis, to talk more about getting involved as an ACS intern.
Hi, everybody, and thank you, James, for the shout out. I am currently the NCYET co-lead, but in this capacity, as James mentioned, I was an intern with the American Cancer Society, which is an incredible opportunity for young professionals to explore a career that they're interested in while contributing to the mission of ACS. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my own internship experience and then also how the internship program works in general. So I was an intern in the summer of 2023, which was the summer before my senior year of college. I worked with people who were my age, a year older, so just graduated, and also some people who were 2 years out of college. I did it because I was an advocacy person beforehand. I'd worked in advocacy. I was the advocacy chair at the NCYT before I was co-lead, and I wanted to learn more about advocacy. And there was an opportunity to intern for the federal relations team with ACS CAN over with James, and I applied and I got it. And I spent 10 weeks talking and working on the Hill, working with our amazing federal relations team, supporting processes, supporting prep for lobby day, really getting an in-depth look at what I wanted to do. And I turned that into a career. I worked for a year on the Hill after I graduated college, and I'm currently working in public relations in DC, working on advocacy campaigns just like I was as an intern. I've seen that happen with other people as well. One of my fellow interns went back to ACS, is now working at ACS CAN. Another one spent a year at Plus working at Paramount. He was a marketing intern, then he did sales at Paramount. I mean, there are real opportunities for career growth and professional growth. So what does the program actually look like? Well, the applications process starts in March and April. You can find the applications on jobs.cancer.org. That's the ACS job site. Both ACS and ACS CAN internships go up there in March and April. And then there's an application process. They tend to be a little bit competitive, but if you've worked hard at ACS before, you can demonstrate your interest. That's going to set you above and ahead of the pack for those applications. And then once you're onboarded, you have two sides of your program. The first part is your programmatic work. So there are opportunities across ACS and ACS CAN to engage with whatever it is that you're interested in. I mentioned marketing. There's also events and development. There's patient support. There's some of the work with ACS CAN that I did. There's opportunities across the board, even IT tech. If you have any sort of career interest, there's probably an internship that allows you to explore that and advance those experiences and gain really valuable professional experience. It is paid too, which is a nice bonus. The second part of it is dedicated professional development. So about 20% of your time in your internship, when you're not working on whatever program or project you're on, you're going to be working with the other interns across the country to evaluate and gain your own professional skills by working on a side project to advance ACS's mission. So you're going to meet a bunch of other people, like those people I mentioned who are doing awesome things. You're going to meet a bunch of other people. You're going to get to work with them and explore how you can take your skills and their skills and put together a concrete professional proposal, which might actually turn into a action that ACS is going to take. So you are working together and you're building your skill set, and the internship people, program coordinators are really
tangibly focused on improving your professional development so that when you move on to the next step after the summer, you're well set up for whatever you want to do next, whether that is if you're going into your senior year, then going into senior year, but also if you've already graduated, whatever it is that you find is your next opportunity. So again, just to summarize, professional development, networking career advancement, exploration of any sort of professional career that you might be interested in, and most importantly, doing all of that while continuing to contribute to the mission of the American Cancer Society. So as I said earlier, applications are usually in March and April, so we're just past the application cycle for this year, but next year should be up around then, and all of the jobs are up. Each individual internship is listed individually on jobs.cancer.org. Highly recommend you go check it out next year if you are interested. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Sam. Next, for employment opportunities, we have a speaker who has been involved with ACS as an NCYT member and now as staff. We are so excited to introduce Alexis Velasquez next.
Hi, yeah, thank you guys for having me. Like they said, my name is Alexis. And my experience and journey with ACS is kind of unique. So I started out with Relay for Life at Grand Valley State University here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, thinking I wanted to be a pediatric oncologist and I wanted to do research and I wanted to get in the fight against cancer in college through Relay, but was going to go work in a lab, go to medical school, do all of that. Did 2 years, took organic chemistry, and for those who have taken organic chemistry, no, it's not for everybody, and that's where I realized this is not for me. This path is not for me. But those 2 years, I was a volunteer with ACS. I was leading teams from team recruitment to event development and marketing and social media. And one thing that always stuck out when I was talking with my parents about, oh, I love what I'm doing with ACS. And they said, so why don't you make that a career? And I didn't think you could do that as a career. But fortunately for me, the college I went to had a public and nonprofit administration program. So that's what I got my bachelor's in. And as I went through my time at Grand Valley, though, I navigated and I learned so many different opportunities to engage and kind of network within ACS. Because at this point now, I'm thinking, all right, this is going to be my career, and it's kind of ACS or bust, which is not a great mentality to have in college. Don't do what I did, but that was kind of what I saw. And so, I applied to be an event lead at Grand Valley, and I didn't get it. And I always say rejection is redirection, simply put. And so that rejection straight up led me to kind of seek other opportunities. And so I became a North Central Region campus co-lead, RIP to the North Central Region. But back when we had regional campus co-leads, I was able to take on that responsibility because I didn't have the responsibility of being an event lead. I had my team that I had to lead on campus, but was able to take on more responsibility and meet more staff. From there, I went on to join the NCYET as a content writing chair, and then kind of saw the need to look beyond campus. So kind of what we're doing right here. If I saw this right now 5 years ago, I would have been thrilled. And so really looking at how are we engaging campus volunteers post-grad, which really led us to create the young professional liaison. And so from there, I became a staff here in Michigan. I am a senior development manager. So I oversee campaigns from Relay for Life, campus and community, to making strides against breast cancer. I dabbled in the endurance world for a little bit. So I love seeing all of the marathon and half marathon runners on here. But what I realized was that development is not the only thing ACS does. We have our whole entire patient support kind of pillar, if you will, and our discovery pillar where we conduct research in-house. We provide patient resources in-house. We work with our health systems to make sure we're navigating properly. We're providing proper screening guidelines. You just heard Sam talk about a little bit about his internship. We have an advocacy team and a policy strategy team. We have a very kick butt marketing and communications team. All the things that really kind of make the wheels turn so that we can do our fundraising and we can do the research and we can provide the patient services. So they're always the unsung heroes, the legal, HR, finance, IT, platform strategy. And so I guess
all this to say is that if you don't want to do fundraising as a career, but you still want to work at ACS, there are opportunities for you. And so, yeah, I think with that, what I would leave everyone with is just really build connections, network. If you have an interest, just the slightest interest, start having conversations with your staff partners, inquire, ask questions, because you never know what positions are going to be opening up and when, and they're going to be your greatest advocate. So I would say always watch jobs.cancer.org if you're interested. Always posting new positions. But if you have any questions, I think all of our contact information will be sent out and I will be in the breakouts.
Thank you, Alexis, for sharing how you joined ACS staff and really how many opportunities there are in the employment sector with ACS. Last but certainly not least, we have our final speaker of the night, Nate Mecht, who is a leader and investor in ACS Bright Edge.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me. And I know I'm last to speak here at the end of a long day for anyone that's on the East Coast. So I'll try not to bring us right to the top of the hour. Before I dive in, gonna give a shout out to Jake, who is not only an incredible Bright Edge intern, but also, as I learned tonight, or continue to learn tonight, an incredibly impressive individual all around. So a shout out to Jake, and I think he's also largely how I came to be here speaking with you all this evening. So the appreciation just continues to grow. So Bright Edge is what we call the impact investment and innovation arm of the American Cancer Society. Really what that means is that we get to work with and get to support early stage startup companies across the oncology care spectrum and across the patient journey. We work with incredible companies in the life sciences who are developing and growing therapeutics, so drugs and treatments for patients, diagnostics, so being able to detect and act upon potential diagnosis as soon as possible. And then also some really amazing technologies and digital health solutions that are helping patients all throughout their journey and all of the wraparound components of their journey around mental health, is similar to how we heard here around transportation, food security, financial stability, and all of those really important factors that aren't happening necessarily in the clinic, but around the patient journey. We at Bright Edge invest in these early stage startup companies through what we call the ACS Impact Venture Fund. That's a fund that gets involved with companies at what we call the seed and Series A stage. So those that are fairly early in their journey as a company. And we care a lot, and I like to think care more than most about making a really positive impact with the investments that we make, right? We're not just looking at a financial return, but we're also really focused on an impact return. We have what we call CIF, the Cancer Impact Investment Framework, which is this amazing way that we evaluate how impactful our companies or the potential companies are in our portfolio. And as I mentioned, with Jake's involvement with our team, we are always looking for interns and folks who can be part of this ecosystem, and maybe that's those who are interested in entrepreneurship and want to see what it's all about and get to get their hands dirty with pitch decks and early stage companies and learning that ecosystem. Maybe it's folks who are more financially minded and they're thinking about, how they can as I like to say, do finance for good and make an impact in the space that way. So we're actively looking for our next intern on the Bright Edge team. I'll make sure that my contact info is shared with you all on the call and whoever's viewing on the recording so that you can reach out. And after I wrap up here, I'll drop my email address in the chat too. Would love to hear from anyone who might be interested, whether that's the internship itself or just interested in the entrepreneurship and venture investing ecosystem and how we're doing that in an impactful way at Bright Edge. So I'll wrap up there, hopefully giving a few minutes back to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nate. Bright Edge is absolutely incredible and a very unique opportunity, I would say, that bridges finance and the healthcare sector. So thank you for sharing. And thank you to all of our speakers for the wonderful presentations and to everyone on this call for listening. Before we dive into the virtual opportunity fair breakout portion of the call, we just wanted to open up the floor to any general questions that you all may have about the speakers or the fair or anything at all that we can help answer.
And please feel free to come off of mute or put in the chat any general questions that any of you have if you feel comfortable.
Okay, so
Okay.
if there are no other questions, then we're going to jump right into the virtual opportunity fair. So this is a chance for you to speak personally with any of our speakers, exchange contacts, and ask any questions you might have. This portion of the call will not be recorded, so please take advantage of it as much as you need. If you have any general questions, Samiha, Darshita, and I will be in the main room to answer everything. Thank you.